What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the RWL. This is going to be our second draft roster, which we'll be using weeks 5, 6, 7, and 8. And basically, just to give a little recap, we will be using, if we make playoffs, mons from our Team 1, our Team 2, and our Team 3. A quick recap of where we are currently sitting in the league. Let's see. In our division, we are sitting at number 1 in our own division, sitting with 3 wins, 1 loss, and a plus 10 differential. So we are absolutely killing it right now. And actually getting one of our wins from our own division, one of our losses from our own division. We are actually not tied. We are actually second place due to our differential. The person in third is actually the person we just lost to. Alex, he is sitting at 4 differential behind us. Kohan is actually murdering it right now at 4-0 at positive 15. And so playoffs right now are looking pretty solid. Now the goal with this team, like I said in the last one, was the last one's goal was to go 2-2. We ended up going 3-1. This one is going to be, yikes, get some wins. Just any amount of wins. This was just kind of like a filler draft. It wasn't the goal, but this is what it's going to end up being. Because heads up, we get sniped left and right and left and right and left and right and left and right in this draft. So this one might be just like a somewhat of a filler draft. I like it, but I don't like it near as much as I liked our first draft. As I do have some ideas kind of for the playoff draft if we can kind of make it that far. We do have a lower pick in the draft again. I did trade my way around as I did have a mid of the pack pick. I think I had like 11th pick. I traded my way up all the way up to like I think 6th pick, and then traded myself back down to the 14th pick because I wanted as close to a wheel as possible, as it's just the best way to draft. I feel like it's the best way you can get mons that synergize. Now you may miss out on some of the better mons in the higher tiers, but that's not really what I was going for. Our goal was for Tornadus T, as I kind of traded down a little bit, as last draft it didn't go until like halfway through the second round. I said, okay, I can just trade down in the first round and still get the mon that I want, and that was the goal. So let's go ahead and take a look at what our first pick in the draft. Oh, and this time I did make the picks in order of how I picked them, so it's a whole lot easier to talk about the team as we go on. We pick up Abel again. We did have it in another league. As a tier 1, it was the best fairy in my opinion. Probably in tier 1 or tier 2. And I wanted to build around it, as I wanted a solid tier 1 because I really wanted the Tornadus, but I didn't end up getting it. And I feel like if we do make playoffs, this will be a solid tier 1 if I am able to afford 2 tier 1s in my like free picks, possibly. I feel like this would be a very, very solid bonus tier 1 to go, because it's really hard to break through Clefable. Now moving further, I really wanted to pair a very strong Mega Pokemon with this in my next couple picks, because I did not think this Mega Pokemon would make it back to me in the 3rd round, because that is like, you know, was that almost 30 picks later. And it usually does go round 1 or 2 as well, and so I wanted to go ahead and pick up Mega Gallade, as I've never got a chance to use it, and I've seen how people have used it so well in other leagues, and I really wanted to try it out for myself. As it's just a super cool mon, amazing speed tier, crazy good attack stat. Its ability just kind of blows, but its coverage moves and its setup moves, which is exactly what I like, are so abundant. It's just an amazing mon altogether. Moving forward, kind of going along with how I wanted to get the Torn T. I end up not getting Torn T, but I still wanted a regenerator Pokemon. I did have to use a free agent move for this after the draft, as I made a wrong pick. I had a mon on my plan from an old plan, and I had my new plan in the same area, and I looked at the old plan, and anyways, so I did have to use a free agent move to pick this thing up, but we do have a Mungus on the team, as it's just going to be extremely hard for those steel types to break through, steel and poison types really, to break through Clefable with my Mungus around. Being able to eat up those hits, especially if like I can wish pass into a Mungus from Clefable if I have to. Just, you know, things like that. Now, moving on to my next pick, I really wanted a strong steel type, and I really wanted a bulky water type as well. So what steel water types are there? There is Empoleon, the best defogger in the game, to go along with one of the better stealth rockers in the game. And again, it does have loads of options for its setup as well, which a lot of people actually sleep on. And I plan to use this to the fullest. Next is another mon that you guys have seen way too many times on our draft teams. I'm looking, as you guys know, I love sticky webs. It's probably my favorite hazard. I use it on almost every single team that I can get my hands on. And I needed a very strong electric type. So what does that mean? It means I got Galvantula again, as it gives me a really solid speed tier. It gives me a solid specs user if I so choose, especially with something that I'm going to pair with later. Kind of along the same lines as I wanted kind of a mon to go along with Mega Gallade, because I noticed people pair these types together quite often, which is Gengar. I've never got a chance to use Gengar. I was swept by it before with like a choice specs Gengar. Its speed tiers and its coverage make this mon such a solid Pokemon. It's really hard to switch into Ghost Spam if you do not have a resistance or like a normal type to eat it up. Let's see. Oh, and it's just another thing to break some mons that break through some mons like Psychics. The rest of my team was really struggling against Psychic type Pokemon. Like Empoleon could eat Psychic hits, Gallade could eat a couple Psychic hits, but it's like not stab. Knockoffs wouldn't be doing too much to it. Now this is another place where I got sniped very heavily. At this point I was actually going to go with Volcarona. I wanted Volcarona as it was probably the best tier 1 left, as I did not want Dragonite, because they kind of did the same thing where they were either one could be hurt pretty bad by the Stealth Rocks, and so I kind of chose against that one, and I went with, oh well, since I got sniped, I did get sniped with Volcarona one pick before me, I think, or 2 picks, something along those lines. We do go ahead and pick up Mints, something we've used before as well. As I wanted an Intimidator, I needed a Dragon type. This also gives me another Wish Passer if I choose. So this team could be extremely bulky and hard to break through, or extremely offensive, and people are going to have a very tough time building against this team. I feel like it gives me another solid speed tier as well. And this is going to be one of my Z-move users. Moving on, as you can tell, I only have the 2 rockers, and I don't have an electric immunity, and I don't have the best switch-ins for a couple different typings. So I went ahead and got the best tier 5 available, which was Piloswine. It gives me another very solid stealth rocker, an extremely bulky wall that will help break through electric types very easily. Now, speaking of wanting Volcarona, I also wanted a mon to pair well with Volcarona to help get those rocks away for that extreme weakness that I had to rocks with Volcarona if I chose that mon. So I went ahead and I got Komala, as I love normal spam on any of my teams. I almost always draft a normal type Pokemon that spams normal moves. It also gives me a ghost immunity for my Gengar, my Gallade, things like that. And it gives me a very solid rapid spinner, and that's really what I wanted, as I only really had Empoleon for defog and Salamence for defog, which you don't really want to be running Salamence defog all that often. I considered Ninjask for my Baton Pass abuser for this draft, but I didn't really see myself needing too much speed. Like Clefable doesn't need that much speed. Speed doesn't help Clefable out. Mungus isn't helped by speed. Empoleon isn't really helped too much by the speed pass. It would be great, but I don't want to draft it just for Empoleon. Same thing along the lines with the rest of the mons available here. So I don't feel like the Ninjask was the best play, so I decided to get something different that I've seen someone else use very, very well. I did see Matt O'Shea use this in the, I believe it was the BBL Volbeat. Now, this mon gets so many different, what's the move for it? So many different support moves. So many different support moves that I can use. Like, what do you have to take a Tail Glow Galvantula hit? If you don't outspeed my Galvantula and you don't have any, like a very strong Assault Vest user or ground type, what you got for a Tail Glow Galvantula? Many other support moves, and that's why I picked up Volbeat. Also, its attack stat is really good for those U-turns. It's actually a very solid U-turner. And then last but not least, I needed a flying type, another one other than Salamence, and I needed something immune, or to help with grounds basically. I really needed help with ground types, as you can see I'm not really faring well against the ground types that are here. So I went ahead and picked up Moltres, which is going to be our other Z-move user. A mon I've never tried before, and it is going to force me to deal with rocks if I bring this Pokemon, or it's going to force them to set up rocks quite often. So I might have some problems with rocks, but that's why I picked up at least what I would think is a decent amount of removal. Excuse me, I'm so tired. Okay. That is going to be it for the team. Someone give me nickname ideas. I'm the worst at giving nicknames. I want some nicknames down in the comment section if you've made it this far. If you pick a good nickname, I will nickname the thing for the next 4 weeks that I use these mons. And it'd be really nice if you guys could do that for me. And if you guys like this content and you like this league, please drop a like down below and subscribe if you'd like to see more. As it really helps out the channel. I will see you guys in week 5. Peace out.